Oh, Finley, how do I see my chat when I'm on the video?
Probably gonna have to pull that up on your phone.
Pull up the chat via Discord.
No. YouTube. But you only have a computer, one monitor.
All right. Let's see. So I got to pull up YouTube. Action Fanatics. Yep. My channel.
Just watch it. Just go like this.
Yep, that's it. All right, sweet.
And the chat will be right there.
Oh, it comes up here if people chat. We'll see. We'll probably get like 2 people.
Big screen it.
Right here.
Yeah.
So when I go off of this and then go.
Everyone can see everything you do.
Yeah, so I want to go this.
Look, it'll show.
All right. So this hasn't switched over yet. There we go. All right, so it's a little bit of a lag.
Don't worry.
Yeah, all right. Got it. That makes sense. All right. It's a family affair. What's up, Fanatics? Got both dogs, wife, 2 of my 3 sons here. We're not going to take a ton of time today, but I want to make sure and go through the college football slate and touch on a few of the NFL games. Real quick, too, I did set it up. Biff will join me every other week. Biff is doing $20 a week for 3 of his plays. Check out his Twitter handle, biffsbestbets at gmail.com. I'm doing the same thing. I'm going to actually end up doing 3 NFL games and then at least 2 college games, maybe 5. So it could be 8 in a week, but it'll at least be 5. All you got to do is email me, toddkirk@mac.com. It's $20 for the week. I'll get you all the details. It's real simple how we're both doing it, but I'm doing it a tad bit different than Biff. All right, so his picks are out. You can check that out. It was on Murph and Andy as well as his page. So let's go through Friday night. Actually, I really, 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 really like one of these games. What I'm looking at right now, and this is, again, I'll still get free picks, but the one I really like is Central Florida. I got it earlier at 5.5. It's up to 6 now. There's a great stat where Louisville, I want to make sure I read it correctly. Teams that are road favorites in week 1 and then are playing on the road in week 2 are 1-12-1 against the spread. I'd say hammer Central Florida. Love it. It's the bounce house at night. New Big 12 member coming in. Consider that my best free. I mean, it's one of my favorite plays of the week. I've got 5 in college football that I like. I'm going to give that one out for free. This Boise State, New Mexico game, good luck. Who knows what you're going to get out of Boise. Bachmeier came in through 2 interceptions. They immediately benched him, brought in a backup quarterback. I don't know who's playing. New Mexico is super slow. It's a 9 o'clock game. Yeah, if you want to play it. But I probably only do something on the game once Central Florida covers and wins that game. All right, let's get on to Saturday. We're going to start with the most important game of the day, Iowa State. And right now it's 3.5, 40. I think some books have it 40.5 for the over-under. I'm not touching it over-under wise. I know a lot of people love the under, and it could easily be one of those cyclone games where it's 17-10, 13-10, 11-8, whatever. 20-17, you're still under. I like the Cyclone team. If I had to play it, if you made me play it, I'd probably play the over. I like Hunter Deckers. I liked him last year. I thought we were in a really good place to have a quarterback that went to Elite 11 and is now basically What's he got? 2 years left, and then we got another guy coming in and went to Elite 11. And you got Petrus, who looked putrid. I mean, I like Iowa State here. I think our offense is good. I think Iowa's defensive line is probably the worst defensive line they've had in a long time. They got great linebackers and obviously a great quarterback. But, yeah, if you force me, I bet the over. And I think based on the way I'm talking, you can probably discern. I'm going with the Cyclones for sure on this one. I'll take the 3.5. I think the hook is enticing in this game because it could easily be a 3-point game. But as any Cyclone knows, I'm like everybody else. We're just waiting for Petrus to come out and look like Tom Brady. Throw for 400 yards, 7 touchdowns, no interception. I mean, we're waiting for it. We're waiting to have our souls crushed by Petrus, and they're all talking about Padilla coming in. So we'll see. I'm going Iowa State. I'm going to take the points, and I'm not even going to worry about it. Let's go up here a little bit. Some of these early games. Ohio State, Arkansas State. The Red Wolves were decimated. I do not like this team at all. I'm big on Ohio State. They had a terrible offensive performance against Notre Dame. Hard to say whether that's Notre Dame's defense or not, but this team is going to want to come out and score. I'd even look at first half action on that. I'm going to jump down to Texas San Antonio against Army. This game's at 2.5 and 54. Did a little research on this in terms of over-unders. UTSA, this is basically the same team as last year. They lost a heartbreaker to Houston in triple overtime last week. They're a good team. Frank Harris is a good quarterback. And they literally, I think, had 18 to 20 starters from last year's team come back this year. It was a really good team last year. I think they went 11-2. Army, tough at home. You know what they do. Army's good for, I think their game last weekend, they had like a 75-yard run, a kick return. I mean, they had like 3 plays that were over 60 yards. They're good for 21 points at home. In UTSA, I could easily see them getting in the 30s against Army. They want to play up-tempo. They want to move the ball. They can run it. They've got a quarterback that can throw and run. I think this is a mismatch in terms of the over-under at 54. I would definitely play the over in this game. I like it a lot. I'm going to hit another one. Duke, Northwestern. Northwestern had a week off after that Nebraska game. I think everybody thinks they're world beaters, and this is a 9-win season. Just that's what they do. They go 9 wins, 2 wins, 9 wins, 2 wins. Duke had a pretty easy time in their first game. History in this game, they have never, ever scored more than 56 points in a matchup. I think it's in the 40s when they play at Northwestern. Yet this line's at 56.5. So we'll make a mental note here. Does it stink so much? Am I reading that wrong? That this is way too high, like maybe 16 points too high? In my mind, it is, based off of the future or the past games. I think there's been 3 games at Northwestern in this rivalry, so I'm playing the over. We're going to put the mark here because it doesn't make sense. I don't know why it's that high. Maybe Northwestern wins this 42-10, but even there, you're going to win the game. Duke has no offense; they're terrible. Northwestern obviously looked really good. They ran the ball nicely against Nebraska, so I'm not afraid of that number. And you know what? If it ends up going to 66, I'm going to know if I see a number that stinks. Next week, we're going to play it. Missouri, Kansas State, really good game. I love the fact that these two are playing. Because it's Big 12, I would lean Kansas State here, but I don't really have a big pick. Texas, Alabama. There's a lot of love right here for Texas. I'm not touching the over-under at 66, but this love for Texas, I mean, Ewers is a really good quarterback, and maybe that's it. Maybe that's the difference. They've had really good quarterbacks in the past. It hasn't mattered. They still lost to Kansas. This Alabama team is different, and I know a ton of people are going to be watching this game. You'll see what I saw. I think a lot of people felt coming into the year. Yeah, they have the Heisman Trophy winner from last year, and they reloaded, and Georgia Tech's running back is now at Alabama. It's their defense that is so impressive. I mean, lights out quick, knock the snot out of you. I can see maybe first 5 or 6 minutes, but I'm taking Alabama. It's an ATM first half. I have it at minus 11. Until it burns me throughout a year, I'm not going to mess around. I gotta think too that Saban, playing those coaches and Sark, who used to coach for him, he just owns them. I mean, that's straight up. I get it, but there's no love lost per se here too. So I don't mind. It's now 20. That I see it at 20 and a half here at Bet US. You could probably get the 20. I wouldn't mind laying the 20 either. Alabama, I just think is class above what Texas is. All right, Central Michigan, a little action for you from Mr. Mac. I've got a huge lean on this. Now, Central Michigan, they didn't quit against Oklahoma State. It was a nice performance by them. This South Alabama team, they're a little sneaky. It started at 4.5. Now it's up to 5. I like seeing that movement. It makes sense to me, but yeah, if you want some action on this game, hit me up. Hit me up on email. It's one of my favorite MAC games of this week. Right after that, Western Michigan, Ball State. This one's going to be a freebie, folks. This is 51.5. These two teams, I think out of the last 5 years, there was a 72, a 71, and an 82-point game. So we're not even talking, a touchdown. We're talking 3 touchdowns above what that number is. Maybe it's because Ball State's so bad, and they probably are. Akron and Ball State are the 2 worst teams and easily in the MAC. I just love the over here. It just makes sense to me. We're going to hammer this over. You could even go into, I was going to pull up real quick, DraftKings. Some of these apps, day of the game, go in and make up your own line. So I may look to put like a 62, see if I can get better odds. I think this one's going way over. You're welcome for that one. Another great game at 3:30, Tennessee, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh again. I mean, what a win. That was huge in the backyard brawl. Pick 6. Place is going nuts. They have back-to-back enormous games. That's one heck of a tough start. Tennessee and Hendon, those guys are good, man. I mean, he's one hell of a quarterback. So 64.5, it's close, but I'm really leaning a little bit more to Pittsburgh here. I think after last week, you hope it's not a letdown. 6 points at home for the team that won it last year in the ACC, playing an SEC team. Man, as a fan, you got to love that season ticket package. But this is a game you can watch and not even have action on. But I would lean, just a slight lean here to Pittsburgh. You guys all know I love Keaton Slovis. Biff, 3:30 play. Air Force Falcons, 17.5. I already got my money in on that one. Interesting take here on this A&M game. I'm looking at the first half line. I've listened to a ton of pods this week. I really like this logic. App State scored 40 points in the fourth quarter. Um, we know North Carolina has no defense. They haven't had defense since Mac Brown came back. Texas A&M has defense. Their defensive line is probably top 3 in the nation, and App State, I think, is not going to know what hit them. I'm going to go here and look and see. Let's just get a taste for what that first half would be. I imagine it's going to be around 11. 10.5. I think it's worth it. The only problem you have with Texas A&M, who's their quarterback? Offensively, a little bit challenged. This isn't their year. I know they got a ton of great recruits coming in. You got to have a quarterback to win in this day and age in college football. Really good team though. It's under 3 touchdowns. I could easily see this one being 21-3 first half. I like the Aggies in the first half. 4:00 game. This game is moved. I think it's the biggest mover this week. Colorado State, Middle Tennessee State. I'm going to make this one real easy for everybody. Colorado State's bad. They're not good. This is not a great team. However, Middle Tennessee State might be the worst team. They might have literally the worst offense in all of college football, and their defense is basically a sieve. So we're going to, at least I'm going to. You don't have to. I always say we because I think we're a collective. We're gonna hammer the Rams here. I know this has gone up from, I think it started at 5.5. So you're definitely not getting the best of the number. You can look at a first half. It's probably around 6 to 7 points. I just say take the game on this. Last week I learned a tough lesson, even though I love first half bets, and I had 8 or 9 of them. If you looked at those games, I would have ended up going, I think it was 9. I would have ended up going 6-3 instead of 2-7. If I just would have played the regular number, lay the lumber. I'm not afraid to do it. And here I was just betting first halves. I really like the Rams in this spot. Back home after a tough loss at Michigan State. Michigan. They got their what's handed to them. And Middle Tennessee State is terrible. So we're going to hammer Colorado State. Love this number at 5.5 and 7.5, where I got it a couple times, but still, let's play the Rams. MAC team, speaking of bad teams, you have Michigan State and Akron. Yeah, Akron's just bad. The only concern I have here, and I wanted to look this up, but I totally forgot to do it right before I got on. So, Michigan State has just cream puffed it early on, and that can be good, but it also can be really bad. They start the conference season next week versus Minnesota, and then they go to Ohio State with Wisconsin. They've got 3 tough Big Ten teams coming up. I'm a little leery at 34.5. It's probably there for a reason because it's not 35, and it's begging you to take it. Although it's really, really hard to take Akron. This would be probably the only other game I'd advise people to look at first half, just based on what they have coming up. Minnesota is a home game, so they're going to start out home and home and home. But I'd be a little leery of, hey, it's under 35. Let's lay the lumber. I think they're trying to suck you in there. Just real quick, 4:00 game. I know we Cyclone fans and that gal UNLV Twitter, she's a piece of work. But I think Cal's terrible. I think they're the worst team in the Pac-12. This UNLV team is feisty. Now, I wish this was at home and they were bringing the slot machine, but you got to play some dogs, right? I like UNLV in this spot, getting 13. You might wait and see. I don't think 12.5 kills you. I'd wait maybe on game day and see if you can get them at 14, 13.5. But I look for them to be feisty. Cal's going to slow the ball down. It's going to be brutal. You can't watch this game. Just tick or update it. As far as my underdog, that's close to being my number one. I'll give you my favorite underdog here in a little bit. 6 o'clock, you got Biff's Best Bet. You got West Virginia. I don't mind that. I mean, I think Kansas is an improved team. Dogs are barking. See, we're going to make that our. Listen, UNLV is the dog of the week. Let's just lock that in. Kansas is better than most people think. I like the fact that it's 13.5. I'd rather stick with that. I'm gonna ride with Biff all year, guys. I mean, there's just no reason not to. So let's go West Virginia there. Great game. Two great quarterbacks, Kentucky and Florida. I'm not going to give you a play either way on this game. I think this is something you're just going to go watch based on how I do in the morning and afternoon. I may have some fun, but this has flown up from like 3.5 up to 6 at this point. I think the value in terms of money is going to be on Kentucky. And I would look more toward maybe playing an over bet in that game, just kind of based on where things go. I've got a great pick on Toledo and UMass. Again, hit me up, toddkirkaback.com, $20 this week. You're going to get some picks in there. Another dog I like, throw this one out for free. Give me a little UConn. Mike Shula. He's got a couple assistant coaches there that are NFL pedigree. Doggone, I can't think of the name. This team was terrible, right? They were the doormat. The worst against the spread the last 5 years was Connecticut. They're feisty. They're getting 23.5 at home. I know Syracuse handed it to Louisville. Their defense is legit. But I like this Connecticut team. I think that's too many points for a team coming off a huge win and then going on the road. And this is Connecticut's first home game. I'm going to take the 23.5 points. This was going to be my favorite dog, but Ralph chimed in. He likes UNLV, so we're going to put UNLV up there. But there's another dog I like. Getting into the little bit later 7:30 time frame, Auburn Tigers, San Jose State Spartans. Again, I'm picking on these bad teams, but I don't mind laying the lumber with Auburn. I think you play the whole game, not just the first half. Lay the 24, even though it's a low total. What that's telling me is San Jose State may not score. If they do, say, get 10 points. Auburn at home, at Jordan-Hare, they're going to have no problem getting into the 40s. I think the most San Jose State gets is 10. I don't mind laying the 24 there. Nebraska, I think they're being overlooked. Minus 23.5. I don't know. Hit me up on email. I'll talk to you a little bit more about it. Got a chance to read Chris's article. He was 6-3 in the Big 12 last week. He says he was throwing darts. He likes Oklahoma State, and I kind of do too. I think this team took their foot off the gas against Central Michigan, and that got close. That ended up being 14. I don't think Gundy's going to let that happen again. I think this is a good spot for them, playing a Pac-12 team. Herm is in a world of crazy over there at Arizona State. I don't think they're awful, but I think after last week, this team probably got an ass chewing. And I agree with Chris here. I think Oklahoma State's a really good play. Not even going to touch Hawaii, Michigan. This game has actually gone up a point. Heck, if you want to have fun, take the points. Take the points with Hawaii and just see what happens. I mean, 52 is enormous. That's the largest line I think I remember seeing. And then I'll round it out. Let's get to the last game of the day. Mississippi State, Arizona. Arizona's kind of back. You got the Pirate coming in. Just a weird spot. An SEC team going to play a Pac-12 team. I kind of dig it. I know Leach coached in the Pac-12, so I dig that he's doing this. You do not see this very often. 10.5. I don't mind that as a dog. It's a nice late night dog, a little pack after dark. But I kind of like the over here. I like what Arizona did in its first game, scoring 38. Um, they can have some fun and throw up a 21, 28. This game's going to sail over 57.5. So for the last game of the night, I'm going to throw out a little Arizona, Mississippi State. There you have it. I will definitely post my free plays Saturday morning that I talked about here today. If you want the remainder of the plays, again, just reach out to my email, toddkirk@mac.com, and I'll give you all the details for that. Let's quickly hit. I'm going to give you some NFL love here. There's so many trends going on in the NFL this week. You have to be careful not to get sucked into it, right? Like divisional dogs, divisional home dogs, all that. It matters. Like all that stuff matters. I get it. Stuff that I like, the number's not moving the right way. You could just look here. I mean, New Orleans, that number keeps going up. That's now -6. Cleveland, I mean, this number's been all over the board. Now, as we get closer to Sunday, you got a lot of money coming in on the Browns. That's switching it. Pittsburgh stayed pretty solid. San Francisco stayed pretty solid. Detroit's now getting 4.5, so that line's moving towards Detroit. Tons of money coming in on Houston, folks. Again, divisional home dog. Yes, this could be the worst team, but Frank Reich is terrible in his first game. How can you bet Houston +7? You have to consider it. You really do. The NFL is a different animal. You have to consider that. A lot of love for Jacksonville. Kansas City at 6 has pretty much been the same. Raiders, Chargers, what a great game that's going to be out of the gate. Here's one, and normally I don't really dig Minnesota, but one of the plays I'm going to give you is right here. I think you got to take the Vikings. It's a divisional home dog. It fits one of the, I think it's like 64% covering. They're getting a point at home. We all know Al Lazard's not playing. Basically, you're going to have a 19-year vet at receiver and a couple of rookies. Although they have a great running game at Green Bay, they have a really, really good defense. You know, that horn, it's just going to be nuts to start the season. Take the dog. I mean, if you want to play the money line for +105, just do that. I mean, that doesn't even make sense to take the point. Just take Minnesota +105. That's a freebie here. Another thing, too, I thought was real interesting. Someone pointed out teams in the NFL that are playing their first 2 games at home, their cover against the spread is awful in week 1. When you look at Dallas +2.5, and you know Brady does have Godwin, so he is going to be kind of healthy. You know, you're only laying 2.5 on the road, although here we're giving a little bit of juice, -115. You could find it somewhere else, -110. Just a slight lean to the Bucks here. Just a slight lean to the Bucks. This is a teaser-friendly number, 2.5. I'll show you my favorite teaser for this week, but slightly into the Bucks. And then Monday night, this number keeps going up. I got this at 5.5. Now it's up to 6.5. Broncos over Seahawks. It's ugly, folks. It's ugly, but it may be on my card. Don't know yet. Got to look. That number keeps steaming up, and that's not till Monday. Could be an ugly bet. All right, so if I'm going to tease, I don't want to go to the super obvious. I kind of want to take a little bit of a flyer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tease Baltimore, get that down to -1. And then I'm going to take the Kansas City Chiefs and get it at even. I like the Chiefs in this spot. I think Mahomes, after losing to Cincinnati at home, after an unbelievable game against the Bills, he's got something to prove. Everybody thinks Tyreek was a difference, but They reloaded, dude. I mean, this is a damn good football team, and Kyler Murray. There's just something going on. There's just something not right there. I've been spending time in Arizona. Biff's down there. He may be able to fill in, but I'm just not feeling it. I would I would take a couple of road faves in Kansas City, Baltimore, tease them up. If you want to throw a third one in there, tease the Vikings. That's a nice three-team teaser. You'll get a little bit of odds there. I'm going to do that one as well. But my two-team teaser is Kansas City, Baltimore. Basically, both teams have to win. I like that one. So that's it. That's week 2 of college football, week 1 of the NFL. We're giving free stuff. I'm going to post my stuff. You guys see my transparency. I sucked last week. I bet way too many first half bets. But you got to learn. You got to adapt. I'm super confident about my slate. My Fave 5 for this week is really good. Can't wait to get that to you. Again, just shoot me an email, toddkirk@mac.com, and I'll get you all set up and let you know how it goes and how to do it. Thanks, everybody. That's a terrible view. I know. I apologize for that. I'm getting used to this live stream stuff. Biff will be on next week.